Hi everyone, I'm back and I'm ready to do a couple more first listens as we go through this series of the history of rock with Amy and Karl. This week it's about the decade of the 70s. This is the fourth episode in our series. And the first piece that I'm supposed to be listening to is called Sweet Home Alabama by Lynyrd Skynyrd. I have heard several people mention this name, Lynyrd Skynyrd, but I have not listened to any of the music yet, so this is going to be a first listen, not only to a song, but to a band or group or whatever this is. So let's try and see what it's like.
2, 3.
Turn it up.
It's interesting. I live in Tennessee, and so I live in kind of the South, or at least the top part of the South. And I know and I can hear that this is not country music, but this whole topic and some of what I'm hearing with the guitar, it's a little bit like mandolin or some of those other bluegrass country style instruments. It sounds like they're trying to echo and allude to some of that even in this. And then of course the bass line is a very clear, repetitive bass line so far, which is also very similar to some of what I hear if I hear somebody playing a piece of country music. But this is certainly not country music. The piano is adding in a bit of what sounds to me blues or jazz influence. Somewhere there it just interjects a little bit, going back to some of the earlier music that I've listened to in the previous episodes. So I'm going to keep going, but those are my thoughts so far. Bass line is just so suitable for this. guitar moment. See, here I can't say that it sounds like bluegrass at all, or country. It's when they get the acoustic picking sounds in there. Here, more of the picking style. The chorus is more almost gospel style in a way. Sweet home Alabama, Lord, I'm coming home to you. Sweet home Alabama, oh sweet home. Well, the skies are blue and the dumb is true. There's the piano coming in, giving more of a improvisatory sound to it. Almost. That ending of the piano there was almost going towards ragtime. Interesting. It's a funny mix of styles and things. It's a funny mix of styles, and at the same time, it's quite repetitive, almost to the point where I would get annoyed if I had to listen to it too many times in a row, because it is sort of a very, I could say, loyalist style. Alabama loyalist, if there is such a thing. I almost wanted to say patriotic, but it's that sort of loyalty to one's home country. And so, of course, it all fits together and has this continuity, but at the same time, there are all these different elements that I'm hearing coming through, even though it's a very simple piece of music. There's the bass line, which does pretty much exactly the same thing the entire way through the piece. And then the chorus and the verses, they do the same thing over and over, and now I have this Sweet Home Alabama little fragment in my mind. I'm probably going to be singing that for the rest of the day. But it's interesting to hear because for the 60s, the last episode I did, I listened to the Beatles' Twist and Shout, and then Simon and Garfunkel, the Boxer. And those were two very different styles. And I know there's a whole lot more to hear in happening along the way, but we're just doing a fast overview of each decade right now. And now this one seems to be taking me back a bit further to some of the influences that we started with, like blues, like even all the way back to the big band style that we started with in the first episode. I was thinking, this chorus, these voices, what are they? Is it like a gospel chorus, or is it like they are using kind of the same big band style that you would hear back then with instruments? Now is it showing up in voices and lots of different things? And of course I mentioned the country bluegrass reference, which stood out to me simply because I live in that region and I'm used to hearing that sort of picking style, and it stands out to me as being a reference to that part of the country. Well, of course, it's Alabama they're singing about, so I guess I would expect it. But it's an interesting collection of sounds and styles that all are coming together into this new setup. And it's different from what I heard previously in this series. It's different, but at the same time, I can hear the connections all the way back. So I am curious to see what is going to come as my second piece, which I will listen to next. And then you can keep your eyes and ears open for the episode with Karl, where we sit down and discuss, and he'll tell me all about why he's picked these pieces and what the significance of them are. And you can watch for that coming up over the weekend. So I will see you soon.